Melody had always lived a life of modesty and struggle. In her childhood, her family's resources were limited, making each meal a blessing. Her father's illness had placed a heavy burden on her mother, who worked relentlessly but couldn't quite make ends meet. As a result, the family often depended on the generosity of others to get by. It was during these challenging times that Jeremiah, a prosperous businessman, came into their lives. His support was both practical and generous, alleviating the financial strains and offering hope when it seemed there was none. This help was crucial for Melody's family, and it was more than just financial assistance, it was a lifeline that allowed them to continue with some semblance of normalcy despite the hardships. To Melody, Jeremiah was not just a benefactor but a savior, someone who provided crucial support during the darkest moments. His consistent presence and unwavering kindness were a source of immense relief and gratitude for her family. Jeremiah had become an integral part of Melody's life during her teenage years. His wealth and influence allowed him to step in and help her family in the time of need, covering medical bills for her father and school fees for her siblings. Despite his substantial resources, Jeremiah never flaunted his wealth or demanded anything in return. His help was always delivered with a warm and genuine smile, free of expectations or strings attached. His demeanor was consistently kind and considerate, creating a sense of trust and respect in Melody's heart. Over time, Jeremiah's actions made him a figure of admiration in Melody's eyes. When he eventually proposed marriage, it came as a shock. While she felt a deep respect and gratitude for him, the idea of marriage felt more like a debt to be repaid rather than a choice made from love. This sudden shift in the relationship dynamic left Melody feeling conflicted, as she struggled to reconcile her feelings of obligation with her personal desires. Melody's response to Jeremiah's proposal was driven more by a sense of duty than by love or passion. Her decision to say yes was heavily influenced by the immense gratitude she felt towards him for his unwavering support. To refuse him, after everything he had done for her family, seemed almost impossible. She felt trapped between her sense of obligation and her own personal feelings. Marrying Jeremiah felt like an act of repayment rather than a genuine desire to be with him. Melody's internal struggle was compounded by the fact that she respected and admired Jeremiah deeply, but she had not yet developed the kind of romantic feelings that would typically accompany a marriage. Her acceptance of the proposal was therefore a complex mixture of gratitude and obligation, rather than an enthusiastic embrace of a future together. This tension between her sense of duty and her own emotional needs created a challenging start to the married life. The wedding was intentionally understated, reflecting Jeremiah's understanding of Melody's preference for simplicity. Despite the grandeur of his wealth, he chose a quiet ceremony to honor her wishes. However, as Melody settled into her new life in Jeremiah's expansive home, she struggled with feelings of being out of place. The house felt overwhelmingly large and luxurious, a stark contrast to her previous, more modest environment. The scale of the new home amplified her sense of unfamiliarity and estrangement. Her days quickly fell into a routine of fulfilling traditional roles, cooking, cleaning, and engaging in polite conversation, while she kept her deeper emotions and sense of displacement hidden. Melody's role in the marriage felt more like a series of obligations than a partnership of mutual love and respect. The disparity between her previous life and her current reality left her feeling like an outsider, both in the house and in her own marriage. Jeremiah's behavior throughout the marriage was marked by patience and understanding. Despite the clear emotional distance between them, he made no attempt to rush or pressure Melody into more than she was willing to give. His considerate and gentle approach was a testament to his genuine care for her well-being. He understood her need for space and provided it while continuing to offer his support and kindness. Over time, Melody began to see Jeremiah in a new light. His actions were not just about helping her family but about genuinely wanting her happiness. This realization began to challenge her initial perceptions of the relationship. As she observed Jeremiah's behavior more closely, the complexity of his feelings for her became apparent. He was not just a benefactor but a man who had quietly and consistently shown his love and respect, making Melody question her own feelings and the nature of the relationship. One evening, after a particularly long and exhausting day, Melody found herself sitting beside Jeremiah on the porch. The sunset painted the sky with hues of orange and gold, creating a serene backdrop that contrasted sharply with her inner turmoil. Jeremiah was lost in his thoughts, his silence a stark reminder of the emotional distance between them. For the first time, Melody felt a deep, compelling need to bridge this gap and understand what was going on in his mind. The quiet moment seemed to offer the perfect opportunity to address the questions that had been lingering in her mind. Summoning her courage, she gently asked Jeremiah why he had chosen to marry her. The question was more than just a curiosity, it was an attempt to connect with him on a deeper level and to gain clarity about the foundation of the relationship. His response, when it came, would be crucial in shaping her understanding of the marriage and her feelings towards him. Melody's question about why Jeremiah had married her had been on her mind for weeks. She had hesitated to ask it, unsure of how it might affect the relationship or what the answer might reveal. However, the quiet and intimate setting of the porch with the setting sun casting a warm glow seemed like the right moment to voice her question. She needed to understand the motivations behind Jeremiah's decision to marry her, especially since her own acceptance had been influenced more by obligation than by a deep emotional connection. By asking this question, Melody hoped to gain insight into Jeremiah's true feelings and intentions. The answer would help her reconcile her own conflicted emotions and better understand the nature of the relationship. As she waited for his response, the anticipation was mixed with a sense of vulnerability, reflecting her desire to connect with Jeremiah on a more profound level. Jeremiah's response to Melody's question was both revealing and deeply touching. His smile, slow and thoughtful, conveyed a sincerity that caught Melody off guard. He spoke of his admiration for her strength and resilience, acknowledging qualities in her that he had always valued. It was clear that his feelings for her went beyond mere obligation or charity, he had genuinely respected and cared for her all along. His admission that he had always loved her more than she realized added a layer of depth to the relationship that Melody had not fully grasped before. This moment of honesty from Jeremiah helped Melody see him as more than just a benefactor. It revealed a man who had quietly nurtured feelings for her, transforming her view of the marriage from one of duty to one of genuine affection. This newfound understanding marked a turning point in the relationship, as Melody began to reassess her own feelings and the nature of the bond. The realization of Jeremiah's deep and enduring affection for her struck a powerful chord within Melody. She had initially seen him as a savior to her family, someone who had provided critical support during the times of need. However, his confession revealed a more complex and intimate dimension to his feelings. It was not just about the help he had provided, but about a deeper, personal connection that had been developing over time. This new perspective made Melody view Jeremiah not merely as a benefactor but as a man who had quietly loved her, and perhaps always had. The honesty and vulnerability he displayed in that moment caused her to reflect on her own emotions and the nature of the relationship. It challenged her initial views and opened her heart to the possibility of genuine affection, setting the stage for a deeper emotional connection between them. As days turned into weeks, Melody's feelings for Jeremiah began to evolve. What had started as a marriage of convenience and obligation gradually transformed into something more meaningful. She found herself increasingly drawn to him, not just because of his past generosity but because of his present kindness and attentiveness. The conversations, once formal and polite, became moments of genuine connection and understanding. Jeremiah's attentive listening and the small gestures of affection he showed her began to break down the emotional barriers she had erected. Melody started to appreciate the way he made her feel valued and cherished. This gradual shift in her feelings was not immediate but rather a slow, incremental awakening. She began to look forward to the time together and found herself growing more affectionate towards him. This new emotional intimacy marked the beginning of a deeper, more personal connection that she hadn't anticipated. The moment when Melody confessed her love to Jeremiah was both significant and tender. As they lay together in bed, the familiarity of the routine created a safe space for her to express her newly discovered feelings. The words, "I love you," came out softly, almost hesitantly, but they carried the weight of her genuine emotions. It was a pivotal moment, reflecting the culmination of her evolving feelings towards Jeremiah. Her declaration was not just a statement of affection but an acknowledgement of the deep emotional bond that had developed between them. Jeremiah's response, full of surprise and joy, was a testament to the reciprocal nature of the feelings. The exchange marked a significant shift in the relationship, moving from a marriage of duty to one based on mutual love and respect. This moment of shared vulnerability and affection provided Melody with a profound sense of peace and contentment. Jeremiah's reaction to Melody's declaration of love was one of profound happiness. His response, which mirrored her own feelings, confirmed that the relationship had grown beyond its initial boundaries. When he took her hand and kissed her fingers, it was a gesture filled with affection and commitment. His admission that he had always loved her even before the marriage was a revelation that deepened the bond. For Melody, this confirmation was transformative. It signified that what she had initially perceived as a marriage of obligation had evolved into a genuine partnership. The mutual acknowledgement of the feelings for each other marked a new chapter in the relationship. Melody's realization that her love was not only reciprocated but had also been present from the beginning provided her with a profound sense of fulfillment. It was a moment of clarity that made her appreciate the depth of Jeremiah's feelings and the sincerity of the connection. As they lay there, the weight of past misunderstandings and emotional distance seemed to lift. The future now appeared promising, built on a foundation of mutual respect and genuine affection. This new understanding between them offered Melody a sense of peace and hope, allowing her to embrace the shared future with confidence and joy.